Hello, hello, it is the Trading Captain. I'm currently sitting up $253.16. Now, as you can see here, I ended up taking 8 trades today, which is less than I normally take, and this is kind of the theme we've been seeing all week, where the market's been colder, so I've been taking less trades, trying to be a little bit cautious, a little bit more conservative with my positions that I'm taking. But with that said, as you can see here, I had a monster move today where I made $192, and that is far beyond what I normally make. Even just looking at the scatter plot here, you can see this was an outlier by a good bit. And I want to break this trade down a bit more, but first I want to go over the stocks that I saw today. So to start, we have IVF, and this stock was more of me watching it because of yesterday's move. You can see it had a pretty substantial move, so I was watching it pre-market, and we did have this initial bounce coming up here, but it couldn't quite break and hold above this previous resistance, so I ended up not trading it, you can see. So moving on, we have CISS. This was a Chinese stock, came out, no news, and it just ended up pumping and dumping, so I didn't touch this one either. We have AKAN. This was another one I was watching, again, because of the after hours yesterday. Ended up having this nice move, and I was watching it here when it made this move. I was seeing if it would try and get back up to this area, but it ended up just chopping around too much, so I didn't really feel interested in taking this one either. So moving on, we have XRTX, and this one was honestly quite an impressive move. I didn't get in on the front side of this move. I just felt that given how cold it had been and a lot of stocks were failing around 30 to 50%, I didn't really believe that this was going to make the move that it did. Even going to the 1 minute, there really wasn't a clean place to get in this other than here, but considering how many times it failed, this really wasn't a safe entry from what I could tell. Maybe on the 5 minute, there would be a little more justification, but after that, it just kind of went straight up, and there was no real good entry on a pullback here. You'd have to basically buy a micro pullback. I did try and trade some of the backside here to see for bounces. It did end up bouncing here, and I got a little bit, but I didn't really make much. I only made like 10 or 11 bucks overall, so I didn't really make a lot on that. And I want to go over this one here now, because this was the big one. So we had this stock. If you see here, it was a reverse split, only about 1 million shares outstanding. And during after hours, it just ended up collapsing and then completely recovering, which was very strange. I did end up trading this first recovery, and I made a little bit on that. But the big event actually happened during the market hours, because I continued watching this. And there was this weird halt down on low volume, and then we saw a massive spike up. And as this was fading back down, I noticed that there was a big buyer that kept appearing and disappearing as the stock was laddering down. Now, normally I would think this is spoofing, that the stock would get rugged, but I was a little less inclined to believe that because of this prior pre-market move where it actually ended up recovering. So whenever I saw this actually break down from this level, on only 3,000 shares of volume, I thought this was actually quite bullish. So I did reduce size when I jumped in, but I still think I actually oversized slightly. 75 is less than I normally take, but considering how violent this thing moves, I actually think it was still too aggressive. I probably should have taken only 25 to 50 shares and left it at that. But in any case, I was looking for a halt up, a gap up to try and get out, maybe a 5 or 10% profit. And to my surprise, this thing ended up gapping up 30%. So as you could probably guess, I just smashed that sell button and immediately got out. Looks like it was the right call too, because this thing did end up kind of rolling back over. But my thesis played out. I do think I oversized a little bit. I think I should have taken maybe half of the size I did, even though I did reduce size. But yeah, it ended up working out. So really good way to end the week here. So going back to the spreadsheet, what do I want to take away from this? So I was up actually 60 bucks even before I captured this move. So being conservative still seemed to work. And this is what I really want to go for going into next week, because the market is still cold. Even though I had this monster move and XRT kind of worked, this one ended up selling off, and this was more of just an anomaly. So I don't think this is evidence that I need to be sizing up. I still think I need to be conservative, reducing my amount of trades, waiting for the proper setups, and only pouncing whenever I see a good opportunity. So that's going to be the plan going into next week. If you like this video, please do leave a like. It helps me out. I don't sell signals or courses or anything. I'm just showing my trades, showing the process. So yeah, I will be back next week for Monday's recap. Take care.